I'm Harrison Graham, and we're jumping straight into today's episode of Chicago Bears Now. And on today's show, it's a fan-led mock draft. Earlier this week on our Tuesday live show, you guys made the picks as we did a full mock draft simulator, and now I've put some picks to some graphics and kind of want to rehash and add a little bit more on every pick that you made. And obviously not everybody could join us Tuesday, so we'll go through that fan-led mock coming up in just a moment. But do you guys want us to do that again? Do you want me to do another live fan-led mock draft where we go live and mirror the mock draft simulator on screen and you guys make the pick? If you do, subscribe to the channel. If we get 100 new subscribers on today's show, we'll make it happen again before the NFL draft. So if you want us to do another fan-led live mock draft, hit that sub button here on the channel. Da-da-da, da-da-da. To kick things off, you guys, the fans, decided to trade down from number 1. This trade was offered to us from the Colts, so we accepted. Bears get the number 1 pick. Second and third, 35 and 79 there, and then a future first and second. Maybe that's a bit much, but that's what the simulator offered us, so we went ahead and took it as the Colts moved up to number 1. And then with the number 4 pick, we selected Jalen Carter, the Georgia defensive tackle, as he was still available on the board. Obviously, that's been a very popular idea thrown out there, is trade down to 4 with the Colts and then draft either Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. Anderson went number 3, so we went with Jalen Carter here. He, of course, was PFF's highest graded defender in 2022. We've talked about Carter quite a bit. The ceiling is massive. He has, crazy awesome moments on tape. At times he disappears. So, is that him taking plays off? Is that him still needing to refine his craft a little bit? It's hard to say for sure. I think he's a really good prospect, and if you could trade down and get him, that would be an excellent selection. In the second round, getting that pick from Indianapolis, number 35 overall, John Michael Schmitz, the center out of the University of Minnesota. I think he's the best center in this draft by a pretty decent margin now. He was awesome during the Senior Bowl week, got rave reviews, played well in that game as well. I think he's emerged as the clear top center in this draft. I don't think he'll go in the first round, but I do think there is a scenario where you have to take him early in the second if you want to get him. So I'm a big fan of JMS. I told you guys the other day I would sign a veteran right tackle and draft John Michael Schmitz if I can to help address that offensive line. I think he can be a day 1 starting center and play at a very, very high level. Today's show is sponsored by Vincero Collective, rocking one of their awesome watches right now. You guys can get 20% off plus free shipping at vincerocollective.com. /chat and use promo code chat. Support from today's show comes from Vincero. And if you aren't familiar with them yet, they are essentially a design house for modern men and women, crafting really sleek watches, sunglasses, and more items. I have several watches from them, and they are among the favorites that I own. One of the ones I have from them is called the Chrono S watch. That's the one I'm rocking today. I've been getting a lot of compliments on it lately, and it's clear from the first impression how well they are made. It served as the perfect daily driver for me over the past several months because of how versatile it is. I also got one of their women's pieces for my wife, Hannah, and she absolutely loves it, wears it every single day when she goes to work. I feel like I don't even think she's taken it off since I gave it to her several months ago. Vincero, based on the West Coast, GQ actually recently called Vincero their go-to brand for modern accessories, and it's easy to see why. You guys need to go check them out if you haven't already. Right now, go check them out. If you're looking for a nice gift for yourself, for your significant other, check out Vincero, 20% off plus free shipping with promo code chat. Go to Vincero.com or VinceroCollective.com/chat. Use promo code chat, get 20% off. Okay, let's go to our next player in this mock draft. Cedric Tillman, a player we've taken a couple times. We get him here at pick number 53, the Tennessee wide receiver who in 2021, last season, was a monster, and you're thinking, okay, he's going to be a first-round pick this year. Well, had a frustrating 2022 season where he missed over half the season, but when he did play, he was productive this year. But 2021 is when he really went on the radar. He's got round 1 talent. It's just the injuries this year might bump him into the second round. Curious to see how he does at the combine, how much he does. Does he run the 40? Does he do some of the cone drills? If he has a strong combine, maybe he does get back into that round 1 conversation. But I do think his teammate Jalen Hyatt will probably go ahead of him in the draft, but we will have to wait and see. So we've taken an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, John Michael Schmitz, center, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, and now receiver Cedric Tillman. Rank those 3 needs, because they're all needs, in order of importance, from offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver. Rank them from 1 to 3. I think I would rank them just like that. I think you got to protect Justin Fields first and foremost. You got to rebuild your defensive line, and then you need receiver, but I think the trenches are more important, so I would rank it 1 O-line, 2 D-line, 3 wide receiver. Let me know. Rank these 3 needs in order of importance. All right, speaking of the offensive line, you guys selected another one in this fan-led mock draft. That is Cody Mauch, the offensive lineman out of North Dakota State, who has some raw ability, but he played at NDSU. They don't throw the ball a lot, so I think he has some work in pass protection that he needs to improve on. But he's got positional versatility. He could play guard. He could play tackle. I think he's a little light for a guard, but I think technique-wise he might fit better as a guard. So he's kind of a tweener, so we'll see how teams feel about him. I think second, third round is probably the sweet spot for him. I'm not sure he's a day 1 starting offensive lineman, so I don't know if I would take him in the first pick of the 3rd round right here. So it's hard to say. I think the combine's going to be big for him, so I am very curious to see how he performs there. Trade alert again. Da-da-da, da-da-da. You guys wanted to make a trade with the Bills, so Bears received 91 and 130, a 3rd and 4th round pick. Basically move back 12 spots. Bills move up to get number 79. They also take a 7th round pick off Chicago. Who cares? 7th round pick, number 220 overall. You get a 4th in the process to move down 12 picks. I think that's a pretty good deal. And with the 91st selection, it's linebacker Zack Campbell, who you guys are big fans of. I know a lot of Big Ten folks watching our channel here. And interesting career. Played a little bit of tight end early on in his career at Iowa, but the past 2 seasons for the Hawkeyes, he really put together some monster seasons. 140 tackles in 2021, 125 tackles this year. The TFL, sacks. You see the athleticism on tape. Had a pick 6 one of the years as well. 4 picks in totals. Has good ball skills. He's really good in coverage. I think he would fit well next to Jack Sanborn, a fellow Big Ten linebacker out of Wisconsin last year, who somehow went undrafted. The Bears found him, and he was the team's best linebacker by the end of the year, but you need more to pair with him. I think Jack Campbell's a guy you could pair with Sanborn and feel pretty good about that 1-2 punch, maybe sign a veteran to pair with those 2 guys. Another trade here, 4th and a 5th coming to Chicago as the Bears only move down 3 spots, pick up a 5th. Do have to send a 6th next year, but only move down 3 spots, get an extra 5th this year while shipping a future 6th. That's a pretty good deal from the Indianapolis Colts. Now, before we do get to that selection at 106, how many trades do you think the Bears will make during this draft this year? In this mock draft, we did 4. We got 1 more to go. How many? Poles wheeled and deal a lot on day 3 last year. Ryan Poles did. So predict it for us. How many trades do you think the Bears will make during the draft? Will McDonald, the edge out of Iowa State, the selection here, round 4, pick 106. And keep in mind, these mock draft simulators are still spotty, especially when you get into the middle and latter parts of the draft. The prospect rankings still need some work. We use Pro Football Network today, but I still think theirs is the best one currently. So we'll continue to explore, and hopefully after the combine they improve. I think McDonald's probably a day 2 guy, but early in day 3 we get him here. Monster career at Iowa State. I mean, 34 career sacks, 125 tackles, 40.5 tackles for loss, 10 forced fumbles, 10 pass breakups, most sacks in the history of the Big 12 Conference. That's pretty damn impressive for Will McDonald. I think if he's there in the 3rd or 4th, I mean, that's a steal. He could go round 2. So I'm a fan of this pick. I think it was a no-brainer to select him here. So good job by you guys to select Will McDonald. Next up is Chase Brown, a running back out of Illinois that I've taken a couple of times, and typically it's in this range. I think 4th round is a really strong range for running backs in this draft. Some guys will go earlier, but I think there's good value in the 3rd to 5th round. Chase Brown with that 130th pick, that extra pick from the Philadelphia Eagles. Great season, right? For Illinois, you guys are well aware of what he was able to do. 1,600 plus yards, 10 touchdowns. Can catch the ball good enough. He's not going to be a big weapon out of the backfield, but if you got to check it down to him, he's going to be able to catch the football. He was 4th in college football in rushing this year, and that's pretty impressive in a defensive conference like the Big Ten. And he could be a David Montgomery replacement to pair with Khalil Herbert if Monty walks in free agency. So like Chase Brown's game, he's a downhill runner, physical guy. I think him and Herbert could do some damage. One final trade here. I'll be honest, I didn't love this one, but you guys wanted to make the trade, so 4th and a 6th, move down 3 spots, but got to give up a 5th next year for a 6th this year, which is pretty equal value. I don't love it, but this is what ended up happening. I do like this, though. We get Jayden Reed, the receiver out of Michigan State, who had a really strong Senior Bowl week as well. He improved his stock. I think the 3rd, 4th round is probably the sweet spot for him right now. We'll see how he performs at the NFL Combine. But Jayden Reed, I mean, he stood out more than any other receiver down in Mobile for the Senior Bowl. During that week of practice, had a strong game as well. So get another receiver later in the draft after taking Cedric Tillman earlier on. Sydney Brown in round 5, pick number 137 to kick off the 5th round here. Yes, if you're wondering, I think a lot of you guys know this, fellow Illinois Fighting Illini player, the safety. Yes, he is the twin of Chase Brown. We'll talk more about that in a second. But you look at his numbers, really impressive this year. Kind of just bursted onto the scene in his senior season. 60 tackles, 7 breakups, and 6 picks as a safety. 6 interceptions. I like that. Matt Eberflus hits principles. He wants to get takeaways. So I'm a big fan of Sydney Brown. I think he could be like a number 3 safety as a rookie. Play some special teams, rotate in from time to time as well. He is the twin brother of Chase Brown. So going to be an exciting couple of months for the Brown family. I actually have a question for you guys. Which Brown is better? Who's the better Brown? Do you think it's Chase or do you think it's Sydney? Type S for Sydney, C for Chase. I know a lot of you guys watch a bunch of Illinois and Big Ten football. I watched a decent amount of Illinois games this year because they're one of the surprise teams in the country. Almost beat Michigan. I watched a lot of that game. S for Sydney, C for Chase, better Brown. What do you guys think? All right, Zack Kuntz, the tight end out of Old Dominion, 5th round, pick number 159 overall. The numbers don't jump off. He was pretty good in 2021. Numbers fell off a bit this year, was dinged up for some games. But, you know what does stand out numerically? 6'8", 250. That's a big target. A guy that's a little bit raw, playing at Old Dominion, certainly needs some development. But a day 3 tight end with those measurables, curious to see how he tests and how he runs. All right, Daiyan Henley, the linebacker out of Washington State. He's got some pretty intriguing traits that I like, and he was very productive. Kind of did not much throughout his college career, transfers to Wazoo this past season, 106 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, kind of littered up the stat sheet there in the Pac-12. Like that quite a bit, could be a special teamer as a rookie. And then in the 6th round, I said, okay, we're going quarterbacks only. Let's get a backup for Justin Fields. Trevor Siemian, not sure he's going to be back. He could be a cut candidate. So there was some fun back and forth, super chatting on who to take, and you guys settled with my guy out of my alma mater, Max Duggan. Max Duggan, breakout senior season. I like his skill set as a potential backup to Justin Fields. We actually have his stats as well that we can flash real quickly. But Max Duggan is, if not, it's no big deal. Didn't have the graphic, but huge year this year. Threw for over 3,000 yards, rushed for over 400 yards. He's dual threat guy. I think as a backup quarterback, he can play well in the NFL. I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's a threat to unseat Fields or anything like that. But if you're going to draft a backup, I want someone who's mobile and with a strong arm, and Duggan checks both those boxes. And team captain, leadership type of guy. I think those are valuable traits as well. And he went to my alma mater, man. Come on, got to sneak a frog in there. So there you go. All right, should the Bears draft a backup quarterback? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Should the Bears draft a backup? Get your votes in down in the comments. Quick recap of today's fan-led mock draft, then we'll get out of here. Jalen Carter, after trading down, select him with the 4th overall pick. We also get that number 35 pick from Indianapolis in that trade. John Michael Schmitz, the Minnesota center, becoming one of my favorite prospects in this draft. Tennessee wide receiver Cedric Tillman also in the 2nd round. Cody Mauch in the 3rd round out of North Dakota State. Iowa linebacker on a trade down there in the 3rd round, pick number 91. Iowa State edge rusher Will McDonald. I like that back-to-back picks right there. Chase Brown, the Illinois running back, at pick 130. Fellow Big Ten player Jayden Reed at pick number 136. Sydney Brown, the twin brother of Chase Brown, he's going to be roaming the back end, round 5, pick number 137. Zack Kuntz, the Old Dominion tight end in the 5th round. Also Daiyan Henley, Washington State linebacker there in round 5. And then wrapping things up with my guy Max Duggan as a potential backup quarterback in the 6th round. That's going to do it for today's fan-led mock draft. Remember, if you want to do another one in the future where you guys get to make the picks live on the show, hit that subscribe button. We'll try to do it again between now and April's NFL Draft. My name is Harrison Graham. I'll see you guys soon here on Bears Now.